And then the process is a continual process, and it will start again at the end of the 10 weeks. So that's basically the process. I'll hand back over to Chris, and the first part will be like I said, it'll be an update on what we've done for the last period in addressing the last 3 issues, which Mark will remind me were antisocial behaviour, speeding in the high street, and the third one was illegal parking. So we'll update on those. Anyone got any questions, then please come and see me at the end about the PACT process, and I'll endeavour to answer your questions.
Over to you. Meeting, the ROTS has been happening behind the scenes, and we really haven't got enough time tonight in this meeting to tell you all that's been going on. The drinking of alcohol on the streets was the biggest issue, and I think probably that's the one that we've all done the most work on. Although the results are not instant, it hasn't taken immediate effect, and I think it will take probably another few weeks, to be fair, to put things in place to sort of lower the problem. Some of the other points that went on the board that weren't voted on, when we took a second look at them, there was a couple of things that had an instant fix. The opening of the toilets for later hours, kindness of the town council, having another key cut, give it to a couple of taxi drivers, and it's easy to keep the toilets open until 12 o'clock at night because the taxi drivers shut them up. The lights are on a little bit later down at the skateboard park, that was an easy one to fix, just send the man out to alter the timer. So if you have something, a point that you want on board, if you feel that it's insignificant or won't get looked at, it might just get looked at, and it might be one of those easy fixes that, you know, we can do overnight. But I think it's time now to sort of go around the panel and say that what we have been doing in the last 10 weeks since we last seen this.
Good evening. My name is Mark Pope, as already said. In response to the December's PACT, I went away with the task with the antisocial behaviour. We scanned the High Street area, Magdalen Street area, and it became very quickly and very apparent that on a Friday and Saturday night there didn't seem to be a lot open in the town for young persons. As a response to that, a local action team was formed, which includes various members here, and I don't want to stand on their toes, they will get their chance to speak of what they've done. We have met twice in the last 10 weeks to open up young persons' clubs, diversionary tactics, to get the young persons functioning on a Friday and Saturday night as opposed to hanging around, intimidating various members of the public. That is underway. We have visited St Dunstan's School, we've been invited in on various classes. In relation to the High Street, 45 persons had alcohol seized for themselves, and in January 35 persons had alcohol seized as well within the High Street area. We have 10 so far this month. We have spoken to Heritage Fine Foods. They have agreed to tag bottles. So if Heritage are getting the blame, clearly if these bottles have their special tags, I'm able to identify whether or not they've come from that location, which I think could work very well.
Can I just add, that still doesn't show who bought it for them? If there's a 15-year-old and like we had last weekend, a parent went out and bought it, 2 bottles of Lambrusco, and the boy with paralytic alcohol poisoning and had to call an ambulance, but of course he got it from Heritage. But it's just an example of what does happen.
We all appreciate we still have a long way to go, but the most important thing is Sam at Heritage are happy to work with us, and we are happy to work with them, so I'm sure within time we will reach a suitable understanding for everybody, and with the diversionary tactics with the young persons, then we can get our way forward. Chris had mentioned about the toilet being opened. planning permission has been passed for a CCTV camera, and of course Heritage Court now has a fence across dividing them from Morrison's car park, which was a rat run, for a better word, for young persons going straight down through, keeping the residents awake at night. I spoke to Method Sen, the kebab shop, and I suggested that he would get his alleyway lit up. He did it the next day. There's 2 halogen lamps in the little alleyway, so if persons do go down and congregate, it's immediately lit up and they disappear. I will welcome the CCTV camera opposite the Heritage Court, clearly with open arms, and it can't get there quick enough as far as I'm concerned. It was raised about people parking illegally in the disabled bays outside of Heritage Court, double parking, illegal, parking WL lines in general. Fixed penalties in December, we issued 67 fixed penalties. In January we issued 52. February so far we've got 9. I'll give you the update as and when. The problem I found with the double parking that was issued, a lot of the lorries delivered to the shops. I had Harold Bishop from Whitehead's News come out and tell me off because I sent his sweet van on the way and he had no stock for the rest of the day. The same with the bookshop at the bottom of the town. Some person had turned up and I'd moved them on, and they complained to me because they had no stock. But what obviously is needed is a designated load and unloading bay, and in the past I have allowed various vehicles of that nature to park in the police bay. However, I won't guess an answer. I will leave this in the hands of...
Can we put that on the floor as a point?
In December, I mean, apart from the fixed penalties, we'd also advised 50 persons in relation to their parking, and in January 45 people got advised by the parking. Now that could be, as we're writing the ticket, people return, seen us, they've parked, seen us, and they've run back across the road. So we've advised them they haven't been there quite long enough for us to issue a ticket. There is a tolerance, we have got discretion. So clearly with the 67 that were issued with tickets to the 50 that were advised, that's clearly 117 people that clearly legal parked in December alone, and that's just the ones that the 3 of us have seen. So we have made issues, to get this correct. We are issuing 6 penalties. However, the problem no doubt will continue, and we will continue to advise and write tickets. The only one I had a problem with was speeding to the top half of the high street. I just mentioned what I had to say. The issue that I had, we stopped one young lad on a rev and go moped who had baffles taken out of his tailpipe with the exhaust, so we clearly got that sorted out as fast as we could. Visible control on Friday and Saturday night, when I'm seen in the town, people tend to lay off the gas. So I haven't been able to book anybody, if that, for a better word, for speeding up through the top half of the high street. But however, I will blame that on visible, presence. But Alan waved his hand at me, so no doubt he has another issue to...
No, very quickly, at the Mendip area working panel 2 weeks ago, a considerable sum of money was set aside because speeding in Glastonbury is no different to speeding anywhere else. I'm sorry, I was very rude talking before. Speeding in Glastonbury is no different to speeding anywhere else. So the panel decided to put a considerable sum of money aside, about £40,000, to buy speed visors, which can now be moved around to different locations. I've requested they come into Glastonbury on a minimum of 4 times in a year for 2 weeks at a time. However, what we also need is a speed activated sign which will very clearly indicate to a person as they come up the high street the speed they're doing. This does have the effect of causing people to slow down because the sign won't go out until you're back within the sign limit. So we'll try and get a couple of those up for a while, sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. It's a case of finding where they are at the present moment, getting them brought across to the Mendip area and getting up in the high street. But we have set aside enough money now to go out and buy quite a few of these speed visors, which we can all move around the district.
it is a seasonal problem as well. It deteriorates as the longer evenings, the warmer weather. And I'm also not just referring to High Street, I'm talking about the whole district. I mean, actually, if anybody wants to go over to the sports fields, you'll find drinking underage in the summer is prolific. And I think one of the most serious parts of these minutes is where it says adults purchasing alcohol for the kids. And I think how you get around that, I've got it covered, quite frankly. Okay, we can pick on the youngsters drinking, but actually to get hold of the adults is the one big problem. But we had a superb meeting at the Market House. It was quite. It's in a pub, and the idea was to have kids go into the pub, but not into the pub at the bar. They have a separate room where they can have a bar with soft drinks, etc., a couple of pool tables, that sort of thing. I think it's operating in the Rifleman's. It's operating pretty good. And I think perhaps that's one way we can go, but we have a lack of sporting facilities in the town, which I think is imperative that we get them back. Particularly, we've got one sports area, and it's hardly utilised now because the facilities have disappeared. We've got the lights going at the skateboard park on a Friday and a Saturday night, which is apparently working okay. Somebody said, can we have it for the rest of the week? But it costs a lot of money to put those lights on. And most of the youngsters go Fridays and Saturdays. They don't go Mondays to Thursdays so much because of the school, etc.
I've been working really hard at trying to find something for our teenagers to do in the evenings. It's fine if you want to be a scout or a guide or a cadet of some type, if you're interested in boxing, if you're interested in other sports. But as soon as those kids turn 15, they think they're adults and they don't particularly want to do that anymore. So I think what we're concentrating on is something for the 15 pluses. I've sat there and spoken to them as other panel members, and we've listened to what they want to say. And what they want is just somewhere to go and sit and chill, not to be lectured to or spoken to, maybe with some music, some ability to get soft drinks, etc. So we can't give you all the details today because it's right at a delicate part in our negotiations, but our plans are to provide a facility for the youth of the younger teenagers of Glastonbury that will run at least 5 evenings a week, and by that we're talking Tuesday to Saturday. So that will be on top of the skate park, which has got lights on till 10:30, almost 11 on Friday and Saturday evening, as requested by the police as the most popular times. We're being honest, we can't put them on all the time. Yes, cost is a huge part of this, because they're floodlit with football stadium lights, so the cost of electricity is high. But that's not the only reason. They're made of plywood. They've been out for almost 5 years now, and they're getting past their usefulness. Because we have to check them every day for health and safety, if they get to such a state when they can't be repaired any longer and they're not safe, they will have to be removed. Mendip currently are looking at how we can replace the ramps with something more sustainable, and we'll continue looking at that. But unfortunately, the wheels of District Council or County Council don't run very quickly, and so it's going to take us some time. So the reason why the lights are curtailed is partly cost and partly to preserve them so they're there into the summer. But we are working on it. But as I say, there's lots of businesses and public houses that are really helping us try and find a resolution to the kids of Glastonbury. But can I just say, having spoken to them, the youth we're talking about don't just come from Glastonbury. They come from Shepton Mallet, they come from Wales, and they come from Street. So we're actually trying to find a way that all these youth can come off the street and go into a controlled environment, that we know where they are and what they're doing, but in the same way they're being provided with something they want to do. And it's quite a tricky balance to actually try and find. But we are working on it, and it is progressing. And really, the partnership and what's been happening behind the scenes in the last 10 weeks, stirred by this first meeting, has been absolutely great. and I hope that continues.
I think we can describe it as a 5,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. We have definitely found all the pieces, but we are now putting them together.
Well, as town councillor, I've been attending the local action team at the Market House, 2 meetings there. I'm encouraging other councillors in the compilation of youth activities, and hopefully that should be available shortly. The illegal parking, I've been taking car registration numbers, times and makes, and passing them over to Mark as and when. And apart from that, I can't really have anything else to really be said.
Jenny?
I think the update for me is the camera that Mark referred to. The work's actually started on that. There are a few issues with the utilities that are in there and some of the structural work, but hopefully that camera will be in the next few weeks.
And I think for those of you that don't know how CCTV works, that camera down at this end of the high street is, well, so beneficial because it looks into the car park so that you can see what's going on. It looks into various windows in Malcolm Street so you can see what's going on. It completes the loop, doesn't it?
Can I just say, it doesn't look into people's windows.
No.
Please don't feel welcome to look into anyone's window. I promise you it doesn't.
You've got cover of the whole of the active part of the town with that camera going in. No, it doesn't look into windows,
No, I promise
but
you it doesn't.
it does keep people safe. I know I get watched quite often waddling up the road on a Thursday night when I've had a few beers. But I do feel safe. Because I know that, you know, somebody is looking after my safety when I go. Is it
With regards to the camera,
yeah?
is it archived at night or manned?
Can't say that's top secret.
Totally.
You
There
never
was an
know.
issue with archiving previously that the camera jumps to
You
such an extent
never ever
that
know when CCTV is manned. It could be manned in the middle of the night, it could be manned.
We can find out where
There
the
are
camera's
no set hours with CCTV.
I understood that they were. I went to the council meeting a few years ago before they hadn't put in the high street, and there was a big debate over whether they were manned or archived.
It's all changed now.
Has it?
Yeah.
It's recorded 24/7, so the images are recorded 24/7. We have limited monitoring at hours that we consider to be the most appropriate times. So
Is each camera recorded 24/7, or does it jump from camera to camera?
each camera is recorded 24/7.
Are there any plans to cover the high street as well? Because I've been looked at outside the church.
There are cameras in High Street.
Sorry?
There's cameras in High Street.
There are?
Yeah.
There's three now in the
Yeah.
street.
Because I did report the incident, but the police ignored me.
I can't cover that. But I mean, we have got 3 cameras in it, and they are working, and you know.
That was during the storm, when there was attacked outside the church. You wouldn't think you'd get attacked outside the church, would you?
Well, there's certain cameras in that area.
And police ignored me.
We'll take that point later.
Okay, albeit it's about engaging young people in other activities. There are 3 things going on at the moment. We have been working with the support of the Town Council. We have been working on a project to support young bands and young people that want to get involved with music. We've now got agreement from Tor Leisure to let us use their function room. It looks like it's going to be on a Wednesday evening and probably a Sunday afternoon as well. And it looks like it'll start next month. And the idea is to give young people a space to actually practice and learn the skills, and then every other month to put on an evening where they show off what they've learned to others. The money that's raised from that is then to employ professionals to come and teach them more musical skills or presentation skills. So it's a thing that will sort of self-fund itself eventually. So that's ongoing. That's going to kick off next month. There is a project that we're doing in partnership with the Youth Service in Mendip Street and our offices in Silver Street, which is to set up a small suite of computers at both locations that young people can access It's more aimed at doing homework and research and that type of stuff. But the ones in the youth club in Mendip Street will also have gaming facilities built into them, and young people will have a membership and they'll be able to use it on different locations. So that'll be up and running. We're having a few IT problems at the moment, but the idea is it will be up and running in the next few weeks. The third one is a bigger piece of work. We have just, in the last couple of months, secured something called V funding, which is to increase the numbers of young people involved in volunteering and the options open to young people to volunteer. And as of the 1st of April, we will have a team of staff in Somerset whose job it will be is to work with organisations and groups who are willing to actually include young people as volunteers within what they're doing. And it will be everything from steam railways to conservation projects to carnival clubs. Wherever we can get the opportunities for young people to engage, we'll help the adults get it right so that it becomes positive for everybody. Though it's a county-wide project, we're based here in Glastonbury, and I want to start it here and then roll it out across the rest of Somerset. So that will happen as of the 1st of April. We're appointing staff right now for that. That's us.
Right, well, down at the school, I have the opportunity of speaking to all the young people once a week in a full school assembly. So one of the first things I did was actually share with them the stories that this meeting told about life in the high street when things are at their most distressing in one of the assemblies. You know, you talked about things like drunkenness, noise, urinating in doorways, you know, misuse of drugs. And I actually just shared some of those stories with the young people themselves. That was the first thing. The second thing, we have an ongoing citizenship personal social education programme, which all tutors do with their young people. Sometimes they're all in individual groups, sometimes we put 5 groups together for bigger talks, and we've had our local police officers in to do some work with them on what their role is, more understanding about what criminal activity is, how it is dealt with. And I've got to say that it was Jenna who came along, wasn't it? So she's not... Yeah, there you are, there she is. And you spoke with our year 7s and our year 8s, the youngest, the 11 and 12-year-olds, and their reaction to what she had to say was absolutely superb. And the working relationship we've got with the police is a really, really positive one. Now, I thought about whether to share this with you or not, but I've decided that I will. We also had an incident which involved some young people in, unfortunately, getting themselves inebriated. So we had an alcohol-related incident, which I ended up having to deal with because it actually happened during the school day, before school, I should say, and it involved. It's easy to laugh, I know, but it involved people being really quite seriously drunk. And the first thing I did was I checked them out and called the ambulance for assistance and got advice. And they didn't come, but they gave me sound advice. The second thing I did is I went straight to my list of telephone numbers of the mobiles of local police officers, and within 10 minutes we had 2 police officers in school to help me deal with the incident, because what school has to do isn't entirely punitive. You've got to try and educate, turn round, and we work with people sometimes who've made mistakes, and I really want to celebrate how fantastic the police officers were with these young people. Not only did they stay and wait until parents arrived, but they helped to check out the facts. They went through with the young people how they got hold of the alcohol, and yes, they had asked adults to buy it for them, and we've ascertained, I think, roughly where it might have been, and I know the police are going off to look at cameras. But the really important thing was that we did something, we got the young people to sign an antisocial behaviour contract. You'll all have heard of ASBOs, but the antisocial behaviour contract is a step before that. And all it is a piece of paper on which is written certain promises that young people have to make about not drinking in public, not asking people to buy alcohol for them, so on and so on and so forth. And it is a really positive thing, because it doesn't get them into trouble as such, although this is logged. It encourages them through a very serious discussion with the police and their parents to think about their behaviour, the consequences of their actions, and to sign a contract which the school signs, the young people sign, and the police officers sign. And it gives them a bit of incentive not to do it again. Because if they do, then there is obviously a chance of a more serious thing like an ASBO. Obviously I'm not going to name names or anything like that, it would be entirely inappropriate, but what I can tell you is, whenever you get an incident like that in a school and the police arrive, it does tend to go around the school like wildfire, and people know. And so really what I'm saying is, we've given the positive messages to them for all of the young people, but when it has been necessary, we have taken direct and I feel highly appropriate action without criminalising young people, but nevertheless giving them a serious lesson to learn. And I certainly wasn't expecting that to happen before the 6th of February. You know, in a way it has a funny side. No harm was done, and these are actually quite nice young people, and I hope that things will carry on. But sometimes schools have to be stand up and be counted. And I would just like to publicly thank the police for their effectiveness and support and camaraderie, really, in what can sometimes be a difficult and lonely thing, because when things go wrong everyone blames you, and it's really good to have people supporting both parents and the school. So thanks for that.
I think it highlights the importance of partnership, which is one thing I think we've all learned over the course of time. Partnerships definitely do work, and I look at tonight as a partnership, because the one people that live in Glastonbury, these are people that can make a difference. If you get together, you can make the difference. So partnerships are very, very important.
Thanks, Chris. I know there was a couple of things I was supposed to go away and do, which I did. Heath's, I've checked, they do have permission, as I thought, which is 6 metres square from their frontage for their tables. And however, they are aware that, you know, their tenants do move the tables, but they will try and keep them back under control. And of course they've now got a smoking umbrella up out there, which will obviously tend to restrict the movement of the chairs too much. That's number one. Number two, the county will conduct test purchasing in this area at unspecified dates. And I won't go into any further than that, but test purchasing will commence in this area again across all licensed premises for tobacco and alcohol, but it will be on an unspecified date. I can find a small amount of funding to assist you if you want on your marking of bottles or bottle marking labels, not much, but I can find you a bit. And the last thing is that we did find £5.5 grand for youth matters at the Mendip area panel. Unfortunately, this is for the bottom of the town. This problem with youth is not just at the bottom of the town, it's at the top of the town too. It's up on the Windmill Hill estate, and so the object is now to see if we can find some financing to get the youth club there opened up on a Thursday, Friday and a Saturday. But that will stop the kids from Windmill Hill coming down into the town, because they have their own facilities up there, so we're trying to see what we can do there. Unfortunately, you have to find trained youth officers. They have to go through CRB, Criminal Record Bureau checking. They have to have this test, they have to have that test. It's not just a simple matter of opening up the door and saying, all right, you know, the parents can look after it, the parents can't, but we'll see what we can do to assist, because I think that that will also make life more comfortable for people up on Windmill Hill.
That's everybody, isn't it? Have we got any questions so far?
Just a quick question about parking and reporting people parking above the line. Does that also include reporting people who are parking for longer than a half hour in the parking bays? Because that has the knock-on effect that if they're there most of the day, and some people are, there's fewer places for people just to come in and go out and then they park on the single line anywhere they can.
I can appreciate what you're saying, and to be perfectly honest, I've been concentrating mainly on double parking and cars parking in disabled bays and blocking the little access ramps as well.
Do you want to say anything on that one? Because I know you do check numbers.
We've enforced the high street. We've looked at single yellow line parkers as well as double yellow line parkers. We are just very quickly. We are enhancing our team at the moment. It's the 3 of us. We have 2 more PCSOs that have been promised by my sergeant. So I hope he knows saying that he doesn't take them elsewhere. We've got one starting the 18th of this month, and the other one starts the 31st. So there will be, in actual fact, there'll be 5 of us, and there's still another one on its way, so I'm told. So I mean, as the number increases, Spencer was allocated responsibility for the high street. So as the number increases, he will be able to spend more time in the town, which of course everybody will be receiving tickets.
Just before somebody else will ask. No. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
I just wanted the 2 things. One, I wanted to thank Mark Spencer and Jen for issuing the tickets, because that really does make an impact. Secondly, can we use the CCTV historically to look at issues where it's people parking on the zigzags and disabled bay and police bay, and give you that information?
Yeah, no problems at all.
Yeah, is it not possible, Mark, that we could have loading or unloading? Some towns have a time limit that loading or unloading can take place in the high street up until bubble time. And is that something we could talk about?
We need to talk about that afterwards. Yeah.
As someone who drives down the high street many times a day, the point that I would like to make, that most of the illegal parking that I see in the high street is by local business people.
Including the Egg-line who parks on double yellow lines, single yellow lines, parking bays and anywhere he pleases to park. Seems he thinks he's outside the law. I've got other questions to raise, but not that parking.
Right, okay. So, we're going to see what issues we can raise for this meeting. I would like to go round one at a time, because I like I'll get to you, Ed. I like everyone to have their say, but what is very important for the rest of you is to listen to what everyone else is saying. So I like one at a time in the day. So the next process is your issue that you would like to see on the board for this meeting. I think most of you know the process. I'm going to start at the front end. I'm going to go. Right, okay, go on then. You first.
My name's Ed Chapman. I'm the caretaker of this place. I've got work to do before all you good people leave. I'm responsible for this building, the car park, toilets and everything. I'm sure most people will appreciate that drinking in the high street, especially outside of St John's Church and Nisa, has markedly decreased. But the problem is, when they can't drink there, there's other places that they go. Now, I haven't had too many problems lately, but over the last week, since last Wednesday, I've had 4 issues that, last Wednesday there were 4 people who wanted one of your taxis. You were on school runs, you couldn't accommodate them. So they sat there on the grass out there drinking. Saturday apparently, it doesn't happen very often because usually the town was open, but we didn't have anything on last Saturday. It was closed all day, and apparently from about midday to about 4 o'clock there was 6 or 8 people light across the main entrance of the town hall, drinking, and I've had 3 or 4 complaints. The town clerk has had a couple from people who, they said to me, is the tone being lowered. Why these people who saw it didn't report it, I don't know.
Can I just ask, when you say this, is this some of our usual residents?
Usual well-known faces, yeah.
Okay, so it's not
Described to me, I know most of them anyway.
Yeah, I've seen something like that.
And then this morning there was 2 about 11:30 on the seats where in the car park there was 2 people who I know, they were sat there in the sunshine drinking. This was reported at 11:25. By 12 o'clock it was dealt with. They were moved on. But then at 1 o'clock there was 2 others there One had a big black dog, the other was off his face, and he walked up and urinated on the side of the wall, which is totally disgusting, especially when there's toilets 15 yards across the other side of the car park. Now the point I'm making is, it seems that they seem to be coming into this town hall car park area. Now, if it's not stamped on straight away, and they get a foothold in this area, I know maybe the camera when it's up will be 100% helpful. But in about 5 or 6 weeks' time, we've got Easter and tourists will be coming back into town again, and we need something to it. So it is the same old problem about drinking, because this is no drinking zone.
This is our usual, so what are we going to put up for that?
So it's basically street drinking in a different area from what's already been.
So what we're looking for is some hard enforcement on our usual residency, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the addition from, it's been sort of like eradicated in one area, and it seems to be moving into, slowly, over the last week or so, into another area.
I think we better put down this the usual crowd as well, because it's...
They're all recognized.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for that. Right, I'm going to move right now, because I like everyone up here.
I got a little list.
Little list.
To do with youth, women health, and the amount of disturbance that they cause, and yeah. And I know it's already been brought up, but this has been reiterated by other residents and people.
So, some facilities on Windmill Hill for you. All right.
There's extra facilities.
Yep.
2 points. One, to support Caroline in what she said. I go to a special yoga class Thursday evenings.
Can you speak up a bit?
Sorry.
You put it in, you're speaking to the back of the talk, not just to a chair.
Right. The past 3 Thursdays, the partner who runs that class has had to call the police because of the children.
On Windmill Hill?
On Windmill Hill, they've been kicking doors and swearing.
I think
it's
is
that about 6:45? It runs, Caroline?
It's usually around 8 that I have to call the police.
They range from about 10 years old up to about 16 years old.
Yeah, this is the group that we are specifically looking at. And obviously Windmill Hill needs to be included in any plan. So yeah, I think we got that one.
Second one, the roundabout on the road at the new construction site at the bottom of Old Wells Road is often covered with sort of thick, slick...
Good point. Good point, I like that one.
It came up at the town council meeting yesterday.
Can it be cleaned?
I think that needs to go on, because that is quite a dangerous one, and I know that quite a few people have made some points.
Can I just make a point? It was brought up at town council and they're dealing with it. Okay.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't hurt if we try and give it a little bit of time to council. But I'm going to move across and...
I brought this up last time, but it's somewhat aspirational, and it's the big trucks and buses going up and down the high street, and the mirrors almost knocking pedestrians over, and sometimes them having to drive onto the pavement in order to get up the street. I mean, it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous.
Weight restriction in High Street. From that.
Yeah, but it's
Well, only I'd say Benedict Street. Couldn't it be made a one way? It's very dangerous. I've been nearly knocked down once or twice there.
They go racing down that road.
I think that might come in with that might come in with some form of traffic management, which will. Yeah, can you put Benedict Street on side of that as well?
Well,
Yeah.
so that we park one side, you see,
Yeah.
but of course it's the point. It's not very wide.
That's all sort of. Yeah.
You probably think this is a bit frivolous, and I must admit it would be, but it's the question of, since the alcohol restrictions in pubs and so on have come in, the amount of fag ends that there are at the street is phenomenal. It's sort of, it could be a bit exaggerated. It's like a sorry,
I know what. So when they come out of the pub to have a cigarette because of the smoking restrictions, there is lots and lots of obviously littered fag ends and everything on that. Yeah, and that does come in with a couple of other problems which your experience in any case, doesn't it, with the smoke and not. I'm going to start back over this way then, Hank, if I can. Yep.
Well, mine is Wales. I mean, the school children, the youngsters have been in focus tonight, but I have to say that coming from the southeast of England to this area, I'm very impressed with the way the children behave to and from school.
Yes,
That's usually a good indicator of what's happening in the area. We're very lucky. Can I raise the thing about the cash machines and the fraud that's going on? I know can be regarded as a local problem?
Well, it is, because it's happening in
Having been a victim, I feel certainly very sore about it. And it's still going on, what's being done to
happening last year. I think that is a good... That is a
Can I just say on that one, it was requested at last night's council meeting that it may publicly know what the scamming machines actually look like. Because I don't know how long it takes to actually set them up, but it can't be long at all.
Surely we can get that put in the paper, couldn't we?
What to look for when you nervously put your card in the machine?
We'll get on that straight afterwards. Yep.
Just back on the first page, I think weight and speed restrictions on the high street. Take up the point about Benedict Street. I know signs don't slow people down, but I think they can stop and think of it. There should be a 20-mile-an-hour limit right the way through. Most of the local towns, it seems, have them, but why not Glastonbury?
Why not speed bumps?
Yeah.
Someone's going to get killed down
Yeah. You're okay? Right, then.
Nothing to add?
Nothing?
I'm Neighbourhood Watch Coordinator for the much beleaguered Heritage Court area, and I would like to thank you, Chris, for opening the toilets at night. That's easy.
Has it made a difference?
I asked the warden and she says it's made a difference. I'd also like to thank Morrison's for the erection of the railings to stop people coming through there, and Mark and his team for what they've done as well. I don't want to speak too soon, but there is an improvement in the area. Don't stop looking. With the camera coming as well, when the night lights come, I can only say thank you very much.
It's a start, and hopefully, we'll get better. Thanks for that.
I'm Jan Morland, Dodd Lane, and there are several of us here from Dodd Lane. We have a very local problem that we understand some other people, Rowley Road, was it?
Hammond Road,
the same problem. We would like double yellow lines on one side of our road so that people park sensibly. We don't mind people parking in our road, but they obstruct our access. The dustbin lorry couldn't come about 2 months ago, and the ambulance couldn't come some years ago, apparently. My husband, but I think at the time, luckily they did come, etc.
I think this is probably something we ought to head off with emergency vehicles as well.
Yes.
Or service vehicles.
Yes, it was definitely the dustbin lorry couldn't come. They had to come in a smaller lorry the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't live on there. But again, double yellows up on Wimble Hill, the coach drivers, the bus drivers, and the emergency vehicles all have problems because the double yellow lines aren't marked on, let alone.
We ought to perhaps expand on Dodd Lane to.
Yeah, elsewhere in town. The bus drivers on
Wall Street, really.
It's about congestion.
Well, I don't see a reason why some committee can't be signed up.
Go round the town. Common sense.
Well, we can certainly ask for it.
Of course, I'll say it off with double parking.
Yeah.
Well, it's blocking ways through.
Even if it doesn't go over.
Have a small point. I mean, we all come to wheelchairs, and you get all these big automated wheelchairs. You get bigger and bigger, like trams do, and our pavements don't get any wider. This is going to be a problem for the future. They take up maybe they've got to give way to pedestrians. How about that?
No, there is issues with wheelchairs and pavements because there's a lot of places because I do disabled transport, and you've got to wheel up the road 100 yards to find somewhere to move. Pavement issues, disabled. I know what Stephanie means. I know what she means. Right. Yeah, finish? Yeah.
No, for me personally, I've just moved into the area, so, and I've been very involved in London activities, consultancy with it. So this is my opportunity here to listen to what's going on. And I have to say, what I've come from to what I'm listening to, it's lovely, because you haven't got the major problems and things what you're going to do. You have got issues, and I hear you guys congratulate what you're doing, because I think it's first class, because obviously it helps. But I'm just here to listen, and hopefully, if I can help, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you, Clarence. Thank you. I travel all over the country in my job, and I know that Glastonbury is very, very lucky. But if you live here and don't travel to Glastonbury, those issues
Yes,
can be...
and I don't want to see, I mean, I heard what the caretaker was saying. For me, I work at the little toy shop there. Glastonbury, this has given me an insight to what Glastonbury is about. And this is, you know, and for me, it's so lovely living here, and I don't want it to change. In 18 months, I don't want to go back to London. I hate London. You know, this is my home now, and I want it to be the best, and that's what I'm here to support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right.
My issues are really on the board already and ongoing anyway and being dealt with.
I'm Caroline Sherwood, and I'm the person that kept calling the police up on Woodland Hill because of my Thursday evening class being disrupted. I just want to add a question into that discussion, which is somebody coordinating the facilities or the plans for giving facilities? I'll tell you why I'm asking, because a thing that happens a lot in Glastonbury is you have lots of people in different corners all reinventing the wheel. And I know that there's a lot of people who've shown interest in helping with this. And there's also been talk of having a youth council in town.
I think I can answer that question. I think we all know that there's lots of people that have reinvented
maybe
the wheel.
should they
But
coordinate
that,
as
I think that is what we've been trying to do is put...
Sorry, I'm coming a bit late. Yeah. Can
As I said earlier on, it is 5,000 piece jigsaw puzzle. But we have found the pieces of it.
Can I answer that?
Yeah.
And there's two bodies that work with youth in Glastonbury. One's the youth service. The youth service work with all youth, but they have to educate as part of their programme. So youth can't just go and sit and chill. They have to be educated. That can be anything. The other group are Somerset Youth, who will help them to empower themselves to run groups. Lots of the youth I've spoken to, and I think Mark, we've spoken to quite a few, haven't we? They don't want to go and be educated after a day at school. They want to go and chill. So I think the trouble is, no, we're all not, we are certainly communicating and we're not all duplicating what each other are doing. But we have to bear in mind that different organisations have different policies, and we have to acknowledge that, and we're trying to work and trying to get everyone to work together, and so there's facilities and opportunities for youth all week. We're not necessarily going to succeed on every point, but we're trying the best we can.
Okay, and what about the idea of a youth council? Somebody I've heard floated, is that on the cards?
There is a youth council. There's a Somerset Youth Council, which we have a member from this area, and that's something the youth service have organised, and certainly there is a youth council, a Somerset Youth Council. There has been some talk about having a youth council in Mendip, but we're still talking about that.
It would certainly be a good idea if there was a youth council sitting on the Glastonbury Town Council.
Brilliant, exactly.
I'd go for that.
I think that's going to be discussed at the school this coming week.
Is it? Is that part of the new parliament?
No, UKYP met last night. I don't know, it's in my diary to come down to the school early tomorrow morning.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about something that's going on in the citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 18th of March.
That's right, yes. Yeah. That's a little action group within school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Can I add something else to your issues? Because when you're building a community centre at the back there, it'd be a great place for a police to pop in. It's broken up into 2 rooms, isn't it? And the first room would be great for the police to stop and have a cup of tea when they've had to walk all the way uphill. Which they do quite regularly. But it was also hopefully stop some the activity we've had at Windmill Hill. And the point I wanted to personally raise is over the past 5 years, I've had about £2,000 worth of damage done to my house and my car. Now, nobody has been prosecuted for the offences against me, and that I can't afford to have my front of my house painted, or have my car resprayed. And I wondered if the council has any way of helping to reimburse me, or can they give me any advice on how to get some money?
I think that is a question you have to take up with the council. I don't think that's one that we can deal with for what we do, unfortunately. But I think the activities that go on up at Windmill Hill, there is the over 50s stuff that goes on up there occasionally. There's all sorts of things that you do actually go into, don't you? And you do spend on there.
There is a question, it's clearly not answered question, it's not a question and answer session. However, there was a big disadvantage up there when they shut the young person's drop-in. It's not for me to go in that, this is not the time. I mean, it would be nice if something could be opened back up there against diversionary tactics for young persons.
Yeah, I think we're taking that on board with the what's going on.
And the Christians were having a meeting up there, first time in a month. And since they stopped the youth club, they have been threatened and given the tax on youth something where they've been using. And the police have done nothing about that, haven't even attended.
That's what goes into the provision of the use of that. Yeah. Okay.
There are other stuff, but not that important.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on.
Very briefly, cycling and skateboarding on the pavement at ferocious speeds, and especially the neighbour I live with, you know where I know there's a no cycling sign up there, but they just do it anyway.